Believers England teen here with a couple of news stories. Haven't done a news video in a while, so if you like these kind of things, just let me know. If you want this as a daily thing, I actually thought about doing that. Maybe this and then one for the movie channel, one for the Disney Channel even. So, found this article, Vertigo, a comic book line founded on SJW values. And I know this could get the channel shut down even more so than it is, but I figured this is something I want to talk about. See, the big problem with this whole culture war going on is we've let people define us. The name Comicsgate actually came from that particular side of the issue. We didn't name ourselves that. We were like the skeptics or whatever, and we really didn't have a name. We didn't have a group. And I think by causing a group or naming it, that actually hurt worse, because then everybody under that banner became the worst of us. So here's the thing. They're trying to define themselves as well as us. If you read this, they have no idea what SJW means, what a social justice warrior is. They think it's anybody who wants equality. That's everybody. That's everybody. Nobody is asking for anything but equality. But we're just asking for that particular equality to actually be equal. So anyway, obviously Rich Johnston, not exactly the brightest of guys. And I do get asked, why do I do Bleeding Cool and not Bleeding Fool? I agree with Bleeding Fool, so I have to go where, I have something to say other than, yeah, okay, I agree with that. So anyway, this says, of late an argument is being made loud and clear, mostly by the obviously activist group. See, once again, you define it, you name it, and then everybody under it is exactly like that on social media, that the Vertigo brand has failed due to, frankly, SJW BS. The phrase "get woke, go broke" has been repeated ad infinitum, and this has been emphasized by pointing out recent Vertigo books such as Border Town, Hex Wife's Goddess Mode, while ignoring any other titles the publisher may have... really? Well, what were the other titles that we have missed that made such a splash? We've talked about the Sandman. Sandman hasn't been all that great either. And we've talked about how bad it is. But these in particular, Hex Wives, Goddess Mode, Border Town. Hex Wives being the best of them, actually. I love the premise of Hex Wives. When I read the first issue, I saw what it could be. Unfortunately, it never actually made it that far. Let's see. It seems to utterly ignore the history of DC Vertigo and comics that preceded the setting up of the brand. Alan Moore, Rick Veitch, I never said that name right, Steve Bissette, John Totalbaum's Swamp Thing was the epitome of SJW comics at the time. Okay, see, and this is where he gets it wrong. Diverse sexuality, liberal politics, anti-war, and ripping apart racist were the themes of the day. See, right away, this moron is putting anybody who doesn't like social justice warriors as racist. See, if you're a social justice warrior, you hate racist. If you're not, you don't. You're wrong, Rich. You're wrong all of the time. This time, you're very wrong. Okay, that is not SJW politics. You don't understand what a social justice warrior is. And from this point, I could just stop, because if you can't get past the definition of what it is, then you can't actually argue the point. Social justice warrior is someone who only sees a demographic. It's an identity politician, basically. An identitarian is the word. I love using the word identity politician because it's all identity politics. You only see a black person as black. You only see a white person as not yourself, of course, but you only see a white person in terms of slave owners or former slave owners. You do not see an individual black person. You do not see individual women, individual gay people. They are all a part of a big group, and they're all supposed to think alike. And they are, if any of them don't, they're tokens for the white slave owners. That's an SJW, and they are full on effect trying to change, as Rich Johnson is right here, the conversation, the words, so they could change the thought. So the first chance Grant Morrison and Richard Case had on Doom Patrol, they took the 60s established character Negu Man and rewrote them as non-binary, reinventing DC villains. The Brain and Mala as a gay couple. After Morrison, you know what? Do you know how many people complained about it? No, not a lot. Sorry, I'm pretty sure there was someone who was like, I don't like, you know. No, we didn't hear about it. We really didn't. No one cared because it was like, okay, cool. Yeah, it's fine. Nobody cared. Because that's not social justice politics. There are gay people in the world. Saying, oh, here's a gay guy, that's not social justice politics. That's just a gay guy. And gay people, get this, Rich Johnson, can think in many different ways. I swear to gosh, according to a social justice warrior like Rich Johnson, anytime a person who's a not white Christian male, you know, the evil ones, anytime Rich Johnson sees a gay person doing something, it's like a stupid human pet trick on Dave Letterman. Oh, look at him. He's writing a comic book. We've got to get more of them in. Oh, it's a great trick. Go look at it. Yeah, we've seen it before. Sorry, normal people don't care. We're not as impressed because, you know what? They've been doing it for years. Hellblazer put the creator's politics blatantly into the series. Jamie Delano naming British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher as John Constantine's biggest threat. One cover included the phrase, voting Tory can damage your health, and stating about his... See, that's not social justice warrior politics. That's politics. And yes, comics and politics have gone hand in hand since the very freaking beginning. And if you don't believe it, you're fucking fooling yourself. It's not what it's about. It's how it's about it, Rich Johnson, you moron. Okay, that was where I was living. It was crap. I can't say that word because... And I wanted to tell everybody, and by 2005, he was doing the exact same thing in the same comic over the War on Terror. Sandman gave us the character of Wanda. Yes! Hey, look, there's a transgender person. Wanda was in Sandman, yeah. But just because somebody's there doesn't mean it's SJW politics. Who she was against the moon, which doesn't recognize her identity. Her death, as she is rather literally dead named, which is social justice politics. Sorry, Brian. Your name was Brian. It's a part of your past. Get over it. You're the one that puts negative connotations on it, not us. And buried by her conservative family under her birth name, has her best friend writes her name on the gravestone in bright pink lipstick. And we see her with death. Finally recognized for who she is. Neil Gaiman says he would have written that story differently now, but for its time, there was no more woke comic than Sandman and Gaming U. Once again, presenting it is not social justice politics. Sorry, Rich, you're a moron. This is going to come up a lot. While Transmetropolitan was a walking, talking Hunter S. Thompson who didn't so much punch Nazis in the face. Ah, gosh darn it, I can't say that word. As shoot them with bowel disruptors, while even Jesse Custer of Preacher used the word of God to get racist policemen to sever their... Once again, you are trying to say that everybody who thinks differently than you is a racist. That just isn't so, dumbass. Enigma from Peter Milligan and Duncan Fegredo was a superhero comic that had a character come out as gay. Nobody cares. Once again, dude, we've got so many gay people who don't agree with you. But you can't see that. Why? Because you are a social justice warrior. Why the last man, Brian K. Vaughan Pierre would condemned by some for misandry and SJW-ness of the worst kind for a story that killed off all them. Anybody? Anybody want to take this one? Anybody want to say, yeah, I hated Why the Last Man because all the men in the world died? Said no one. The biggest problem Vertigo faced was recruitment, thanks to internal challenges imposed by Warner Brothers. The offered deal was inferior to publishers such as Image, Dark Horse, Boom, IDW, Dynamite, so forth, so on. And DC lost its big gun to rivals. They only got Neil Gaiman back for Sandman Overture and Sandman Presents after a decade of negotiations, unwilling to match the terms that Gaiman got elsewhere. That combined with losing Karen Berger and Shelley Bunn, yeah, that was kind of silly. That really was. I mean, you know, hey, she created, she made it big. Let's get rid of her. No. Let's see. I kind of lost myself here. They gave new Vertigo comic books and this has been true several years, and nothing has ever. I would recite Red Thorn by David Bale and Megan Hetrick as a standout, but it was outsold by equivalent books from other publishers. It may have flourished. Okay, what are we talking about here? Let's just go. Brian Michael Bendis was able to negotiate some very favorable terms from DC for his line of creator-owned books, matching his Marvel deal. It has been noted that if DC Comics made those terms available to others, all manner of folks would flock. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if we got a whole bunch of Brian Michael Bendis? Wait, we are. Seriously, and it's not good. Okay, so he's way off the freaking rails as far as this, but you get the point. You get my point. You understand what I'm saying. And it's not just Rich Johnson. Anybody who is an identity politician wants to define you, if you are not an identity politician, that you are racist. If you see a black person as an individual who has different likes and dislikes than other black people, you are a racist. If you see a gay person as a human being who has likes and dislikes beyond that of just being gay, guess what? You're a homophobe. And that's just the way a social justice warrior sees it. And that is what this article is all about. It really is. All the stuff he mentioned was just presentation. It wasn't politics. And comic books have been liberal politics from the very beginning. But liberal isn't leftist. And Rich Johnston is a leftist. And I've said that many, many times. On this side of the aisle of the whole culture war, as it goes, we've got plenty of liberals. Comics division is liberal. I know that Dalton, the Authenticator, is a liberal. He's a liberal member of the LGBTQ. Seriously. And he wants to not only define us, but he wants to define themselves as some sort of hero. Vertigo had big problems as a brand and had destroyed blah, blah, blah. Now replacing them all at DC with age guidelines labels instead, and fewer of those too. But to argue that Vertigo died due to SJW bullshit over the last year, when arguably that's the very kind of thing that it was founded on and prospered upon, seems to ignore what DC Comics published. Okay, first of all, you're a moron. Have I said that enough yet? Have I really said that enough yet, Rich? You're a freaking moron. Okay. Once again, not what it's about, it's how it's about it. Back then, it was presentation. Nowadays, the message is before the story. See, everything that happened in those Vertigo books of the past served the story. And it was fine. It was good. It fit. This, on the other hand, Goddess Mode, all of the other stuff, it's preaching. It's not good storytelling. And in the end, it becomes, as you say, SJWBS. All right, let's see what we've got here. The argument is wrong. Originally, Vertigo was not progressive. It was subversive. Thank you very much, King Chabaskiro. That's awesome. Yes. He goes on for a longer one, but I'm not going to stick around. The first to say Alan Moore is a misogynist who has women raped in all of his books was Grant Morrison. Yikes. Let's see. Based on DC's plot summations, I perceive the latest wave of Vertigo titles as featuring overt social themes. Didn't read any of them. Oh, no, they really were. Borderline, or Border, you know what I'm trying to say. Border Patrol. Border Town. That was it. Gosh darn it. I forgot about it. Border Town was bad. It was really bad. Hexwives was the best of them. Goddess Mode, for some reason, is still going. I stopped reading. I can't do it anymore. Anyway, that's what I've got to say about this story. I picked up a couple of others to talk about as well. Warner Brothers may replace Ezra Miller's Flash with Wally West. But this video is kind of running long, so I'll hit those some other time. There are a lot of movie stuff, so maybe I'll put them on Extreme Movie Show. Anywho, what do you think of this article? Frankly, it's one more time that the identity politicians are, instead of arguing what is being said, make stuff up in order to argue that what they want to argue. That happens. That happens on both sides, by the way. And I don't like either side using it. It's a crap tactic, and it doesn't mean anything in the end. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, click like, share this video. Help me get around this new YouTube algorithm thing that they've got that's destroying the channel here. It's time to buck up, really. You know, it isn't what they're doing, it's what I could do to combat it, basically. So anyway, what did you think? Don't forget to let me know in the comments below. I said that already. Click like, share, subscribe. But make sure your notifications are on and make sure that bell is rung. That's the only way to get notified about your favorite YouTubers. Not just myself, but any of them. That is now what YouTube needs in order for all of this to happen. Also, please go on over to BitChute. This channel might not be long for the world, but I'm also on BitChute. Go on over there, subscribe to that as well. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, there's a tip jar there, plus Ko-Fi, plus Patreon. On Ko-Fi, not only can you just drop $1 in the till like you can on Patreon and BitChute, but you can commission a video. I do comic book origins, I do top 10s, I do all sorts of stuff. I've got all of the categories there that you can commission a video from me to do. Some people already have. I'd like to thank all of those who already have done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.